This is part 2 of how to install OpenShift 4 the easy way. In part 1 of the guide, we install a 3-node OCP cluster using the bare metal assisted installer. In part 2, we're going to download and configure the OC client. We're going to set up an authentication provider. We're going to configure the registry, and we're going to create an ephemeral Drupal project. All right, let's go ahead and download the OC client. Download it from here. This will download the latest version. And then we're going to untar it. And then we're going to move the OC client kubectl to user local bin. Then we go to test the OC client. We want to download our kubeconfig. So on cloud.openshift.com, you can go to assisted clusters and you'll be able to get your kubeconfig if you don't already have it. And then we're going to want to export kubeconfig and point to the file. And then if we do an OC get nodes, it should show that our nodes are up and running. And if you do an OC version, it will show what version of the client that you have installed. Let's set up the authentication provider. Go ahead and copy this to clipboard. And instead of test user, I'm just going to call it test. And then we'll put in a password. And then we will create a secret in the OpenShift config project using the users.ht password file that we just created. All right, now we're going to download this template. And then we're going to do an OC create. Okay, OC apply -F. Now let's go ahead and refresh our console. If you're already logged in, just log out. You can also just hit refresh. And we'll log in with the HT password provider. Finalist test. And we'll go ahead and click log in. Now this should take you to the developer window. And if you notice you don't have any projects, let's go ahead and fix that. Let's look back at the guide. And we will add the cluster admin role to our user. I used the user test in this example. Then immediately all your projects should show. Now that you have cluster admin access, let's go ahead and set up the registry. This is for a non-production environment. We're going to set the registry to an empty directory. So let's copy this to our terminal. And then we will, what we're doing is patching the management state to manage, which will start the registry. And then we'll change the storage to an empty directory. What this does is make the registry ephemeral. So when the registry pod restarts, all your images stored in your registry will not be there. Like I said, this is for a non-production environment. Let's go ahead and take a look at the registry project. It's going to be OpenShift image registry. All right, these are already up. So let's go ahead and do the ephemeral Drupal project. All right, in the guide, we're going to copy this line to create a new project called Drupal test. Then we're going to create a new app using the PHP S2I image. And then we're going to expose the service Drupal lab. Next, we're going to go ahead and create the MariaDB image using this command. This is going to pull the OpenShift MariaDB image with the 10.3 tag and set the name to MariaDB and a couple environment variables. We should be able to go to our Drupal lab project in the console, select Drupal test, and this is already built because it's been a little while. We can go ahead and click on the container. You can see that it's running. You can see some logs. Let's go ahead and create a secure route. We'll copy this from the guide and we'll paste that into our terminal, and it will create drupal.apps.lab.mydc.dev as a secure route. Paste that in. Click save and continue. We'll do a demo. Database name's Drupal. Drupal for all these. And the host name is going to be MariaDB, which is the name of the service in the project. And it'll go ahead and install and configure Drupal. Go ahead and fill this out for the demo. Everything is test. And save and continue. Now that that's done, it loaded the demo site. Keep in mind, these containers are ephemeral. Let's go ahead and go back to that project. I'll look at the topology. So when these containers reboot, they'll have no data. If you want to store those permanently, you need to set up persistent storage. That's not going to be covered in this guide. So just to recap, in this guide, we covered part 2 of the OpenShift install the easy way. We configured the OC client. We configured an authentication provider. We configured the registry and an ephemeral Drupal project. At this point, you've got an excellent cluster set up for testing and development. I want to wish you luck with OpenShift in the future. Goodbye for now.